Episode 3, navigating through adulthood. We're on iTunes. I need everybody to tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe to Navigating Through Adulthood. We are in episode 3, week 3. This is a special day for me. This is my birthday. Today is my actual birthday. I'm not big on celebrations. I think it's because of when my birthday is. It falls like right when you're trying to get focused back on, it's a new year. It's January 12th. It's a new year. I'm done with Thanksgiving. I'm done with Christmas. That wasn't really about me. Now it's like, all right, you have to wait like 2 weeks because I'm a workaholic. If that's one thing you guys don't know about me, I work all the time. So for me, this time is like, okay, now it's time to get back to work. So I'm not every year around my birthday in the early 2000s. It was hard because the Eagles were either coming off a loss, the Philadelphia Eagles, were either coming off a loss, or they were going into the NFC Championship game around this time. And if you know anything about the Eagles, they only made it to the Super Bowl one time out of the 4 times they made it to the NFC Championship. So this week was always like an intense week. So, I want to thank everybody that wished me a happy birthday. And I'm so excited because I'm older. And it's so funny. I think I told you guys last week, you have to program your kids. And for me, I had to program my son because my oldest son, he's 3, he's about to be 4. And I had to, he goes to daycare. I had to tell him, he says, "Daddy, how old are you?" And I said, "Son, I'm 26. And the thing is, of course I'm not 26, but there's certain things you have to leave your kids with because they have big mouths. They tell everything. So you have to program lies into your kids sometimes, because you know how it is. Somebody asks your kid, "Oh, so where do you live?" I feel sorry for my oldest son because he doesn't know, I tell him the wrong city that he lives in. I tell him I'm a gardener. You know what I mean? Because you don't want your kid going to school telling everything, right? And I don't want my kid going to school, "Oh, my daddy's 30, whatever," right? So my kid, I feed him positivity, but then I also feed him lies because I know he's my first line of defense for he's my publicist because I know he goes to school and he talks about, things at home. I'm telling you, this kid does not know where he lives, man. Cause you know how they are. "Oh yeah, I live in North Philly." No, son, you can't tell him all of that. So I kind of curb him with a lot of that. What I'm doing on my birthday today. Okay, so shout out to my wife. She knows me so well. She gave me tickets to go see Jerry Seinfeld in concert. And I love Jerry Seinfeld. And this is my first time able to see Jerry Seinfeld. So I'm super excited about that. That's next month, right? Second, I'm going to my first ever hockey game tonight. I'm going to the Flyers game. Now, I don't know anything about hockey. I know nothing about hockey. And the crazy thing is I've been living in Philly for about 30 years. 4 or 5 of those years I was gone. I hate to say gone like I was in jail. I was in LA. But I've been here a majority of my life, and I've never been to a hockey game. I know nothing about the Flyers. I know Claude Giroux plays for the Flyers, I think. And Ron Hextall, he was the old hockey goalie. I know he's in management. Maybe he's the coach. I have no clue. So I'm going to my first ever hockey game tonight. This is going to be funny because I feel like I'm going to be one of those people cheering for the wrong thing. I hate those. And I don't want to say just women, but I hate when people do this. When my wife, if the Eagles are losing, she'll come in "Oh, he took the ball from him. Yay." I said, "No, that's an interception." So I have a feeling I'm going to be that person at this hockey game tonight. And you may say, "Dad, Q, man, you going to the hockey game? You going to go see Jerry Seinfeld?" Yeah. I told y'all, we navigating through adulthood. I'm changing. My life is changing. I'm doing so many different things now. And it takes me to this one thing that happened this week when I was looking at this person how in the hell did that happen? I don't know if you guys heard. Chris Brown was in the club. He was in San Jose. He was in the club and he's singing "Loyal." "These girls ain't loyal." And then these guys start fighting in the club. So they start fighting. And of course, Chris Brown being just newsy person like anybody, he's looking at the fight "Oh, them hitters over there fighting." He now he has a West Coast accent. It's beyond me. But he's "Oh, these hitters is fighting." And then these guys are fighting. We don't see the fight. And then you just hear gunshots pop out. And then the fear on Chris Brown's face is so crazy. And then they usher him off the stage. But the thing, it brings me to this point. If you're the next Michael Jackson, this is what they're trying to dub Chris Brown. Minus what happened with him and Rihanna. The dude has supreme level talent. Like, he's really tapped into his talent. What are you doing in a club? Like, perform? I just don't get it. It was like a ratchet club. Like, it was like, this club looked like, you ever been to like your first inner city club? This is what this place looked like. And I'm like, why is he there? Like, you would never see like Usher in a club like this. You wouldn't see Michael Jackson. You wouldn't even see R. Kelly. Insert R. Kelly jokes. But you wouldn't even see these guys at this kind of club. And then it's so funny because the next day, which was Sunday, he put on his Instagram. Chris Brown put on his Instagram, and he's like at this Golden Globes after party, and then like they're playing like techno music, and he's like, "Man, I'm done with the N-word clubs." So I just say, I have a feeling like you don't have to, and I don't know who I'm talking to out there, bro. I may be talking to one particular person. Keeping it real doesn't mean staying back where you came from. I mean, you can give back to where you came from, but Chris Brown didn't grow up in San Jose. It's okay to explore and do different things. Like, I'm excited that I'm going to a hockey game and I don't know anything about hockey. I'm going to a Flyers game. I know nothing about hockey. Like, this is what navigating through adulthood means. Like, it's okay. Like, I have a PhD in the hood. Like, I'm telling you, like, my doctorate, I mastered it. I mastered the hood. I'm done. Like, I'll go back and give back and, try to, reach some people that I can bring up. But like, me staying in a club, the club Chris Brown was at, I wouldn't even been in the club. I would not have walked into that club. But I feel like for some people, they feel like if you're growing and you're changing, that shows a sign of weakness. Well, guess what? I'm going to be so weak this year. I'm just changing. I'm so excited. Hockey game tonight. Jerry Seinfeld, first concert. I get to see Jerry Seinfeld. I'm excited. And that brings me to this. This week, I interview Lupe Fiasco. Now, if you know anything about Lupe Fiasco, he's a hip hop artist, but this dude is super intelligent. And I was talking to him because Lupe is one of these people. I feel like he is of a certain, he's of a certain tribe. I feel like I'm in the same tribe as Lupe. I would like to think he's like in this middle ground, right? Like he comes from the inner city, but he's been around the world. He's super talented and he's super educated, and people in the hood sometimes don't accept him, and people around the world sometimes don't accept him. And I asked Lupe, how do you feel about that?
The world is a very big place. Music in the world and on a day-to-day kind of thing, in comparison to other things, is small compared to farming. Music is very small when you compare it to farming, So there's audiences for different things. There's people who like different things. There's people who don't like different things. There's people within the same age bracket or the same tax bracket who like completely different things, completely opposite, live on completely sides of the stratosphere. So I have no expectation in that department to win over everybody with everything. And sometimes I honestly, and this is part of the weaknesses of being a human being, you get caught up in that. You want to see all positive everything all the time, everything you do, and you get obsessed with it. And when you see something negative, it just destroys you. You're like, oh, whatever with these kids, They don't know what they're talking about. But people have a short memory. I have a short memory. You may like one thing one day and then honestly forget that you liked it before, and then 2 weeks later you're like, oh, whatever with that. Or something that you hate. All my best friends, I kind of hated them when we first met. And
like who?
My man Bishop G.
Okay.
My man Bishop G, he's on my second album, The Cool, on a song called Lil Weapon. Me and him started rapping together. He's the reason I rap, XYZ, blah, 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 blah. But when we first met in middle school, it was a fight situation. Yo, what you looking at?
Yeah.
Yo, what you want? You want a piece of this? Yeah, I want a piece of that. You know what I'm saying? Kind of a thing. Pause. But it's something that it grew on me. And I see that with something. It was one of my guys who runs like the Lupe Fiasco street team. When he heard the Bishop Ab record, and he's a super Lupe fan, comes to every shows he don't even need to be at. It's like, yo, my man, you don't even need to be here. What are you doing? He was like, I didn't even really like the record, but it grew on me.
Got you.
And I can dig it, and I'll put it in the pantheon with the rest. So I have no expectations of that. I had to lose that for the sake of my own sanity. That's why people go crazy in the music business.
Got you.
In the fame world. That's why people go crazy. People think it's, you got rich and bought some cocaine and bought a Ferrari and bought a mansion and went crazy in your house. Like, nah. People be reading them reviews, sitting through that their first movie didn't do as much as their first TV show, and now the reality boom mics are gone, and now you got to go into Ralph's and people are looking at you crazy.
Ralph's is a supermarket in Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen. They don't know anything about that, Lupe. I was only there in Sherman Oaks. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, you know, Lupe, one thing you know, people like you, right? You're one of these like curators of the culture, I can say, right? So like if you said like, yo, I'm into like this like African lotion, you know, it kind of soothes my sin. I'll be like, oh, that's what's up. Yo, look up the African lotion and let's get this thing popping. So I can be like, what's some of the things that motivate you? Like books, places to go. Like I want to know. I don't even care about the people listening.
Right.
I want to know.
You want to know. Just like the full package of things, man.
Definitely.
Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
It's a beautiful experience. You know what I'm saying? Just on all, it's normal. You get in the car, get out the car, walk around, just be a regular citizen there. Great food, great people, great energy, great vibe. You want to get ratchet, there's a ratchet side of town.
Yeah.
You want to be regular, normal. Just a beautiful thing, right? Race cars from the little British sports cars from like the 60s. You know, you can get one for like $8 grand. You know what I'm saying? And like just drive around with the top down and be looking all cool. You feel like a movie star. You feel like an old 60s movie star. Tie a little scarf around your neck so it blow out the back of the car. Get some goggles. It's a beautiful experience.
What's the car cost?
You can get an MG. You can get an Austin Healey.
Okay.
There's a few of them out there. You know.
Okay.
Little small sports cars.
Cool.
Beautiful little thing. James Baldwin. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful dude. You know, black intellectual. You know, went against the grain. Beautiful playwright. Wrote beautiful stories, novels. Kept it raw. Kept it 100. Used nigga, like, but was from Harlem.
Have you been to Paris?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But it's not even Paris. It's Bordeaux.
See, I ain't been to
Really
Bordeaux.
3-hour train ride from Paris.
Really?
Bordeaux.
Yeah.
And you know how Paris, because a lot of people get confused with Paris. People think Paris, this is just me and him talking, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people think Paris is the Louvre, and then it's like the Eiffel Tower, and then just sexy buildings. Real Paris is very, very ugly.
Got you.
You know, it's not as beautiful. Real Paris, like the rest of Paris outside. And go to Bordeaux.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you'll see that complete beautiful city. The whole city's beautiful. Used to be a slave trading post, but you know, it's still beautiful.
Got
kind
you.
of a thing. Africa, man. Africa needs us.
What part?
They need our help. All of it.
So
Africa needs us.
Okay.
You know, they need us in some capacity. Haiti needs us. You know what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, they need us. Whether you from Haiti or you're Jamaican or you're Dominican and you don't like Haitians, my man, Haiti needs us.
Got you.
It's a very, very dire situation there. Whew, my God.
Books. Like what books you know?
There's a book called The People's History of Poverty in the United States of America. It's a very beautiful book. James Baldwin, I mentioned him. He has a book called Cross of Redemption, which is basically just a compilation of all of his little essays and little side stories and speeches and interviews, which is a great introduction to get into James Baldwin. There's a book that I'm reading called God is Red, which is about the American. It's a very subversive, radical take on the Native American experience, starting in like I think it's the late 60s, 70s, what have you. But it talks about their religions and all these different things and programs and all of this stuff that went on with the Native American experience, and simultaneously running along the Black civil rights experience, because they were mutually exclusive. A lot of people don't know that. The Native Americans always felt like they weren't fighting for rights; they already had rights,
and we took them.
Right, but they knew that they were fighting for their treaties. It's like, yeah, we don't need civil rights because we already got them.
Got you.
You know, and so that was an interesting play. And if you want to get more into that, there's a book called God is Red, which is pretty cool.
Is this stuff? You should put this stuff on your Tumblr or something, dog.
I had a reading club.
I remember
called the Readers.
Yeah, I remember.
And every time I would pick up a book, I would just kind of do it. But what happened was, a lot of the books were, once we got kind of out of some of the lighter books, you know, like we did the biography of Huey Newton. Another book called by Chris Hedges, called The Empires of Illusion. And
you weren't doing like Oprah, like how she did her book club, like she had people reading to her.
No, I didn't.
Okay, you were actually reading.
No, I was actually reading the joints.
Like, okay.
But as the books got a little bit more deeper, you couldn't keep up with the schedule of 3 weeks and come back. It was no, you need to sit down and read this for 2 months. But they still going on strong. It's Facebook, The Readers, And I don't know what book they're on. The plan was to read a book every week or 2 weeks and then come back and they discuss it. But yeah, you know, it's still there. Anything from Howard Zinn, anything from James Baldwin, you know.
All right, I'm gonna write this stuff down. Lupe, I appreciate you coming through, dude. Come back, man.
And I do, man. I love it. I love to come into your warm little thing
environment, right?
Yeah.
Pause,
Nice.
people.
Pause.
Thank you, Lupe Fiasco. Let's give it up for Lupe, man. That was. You're not gonna get a better interview anywhere. I run the city.